Welcome back to the Biz Alchemist podcast. I am your host, Fallon Jordan, and my cat Archer is here. He is very excited to be in Janine's energy because it is a beautiful place to be. And Janine is also known as the White Raven. She is a shamanic practitioner and just a very recent soul sister that I've come across with. And I'm just so grateful to be in your world. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'm so excited. You have a really interesting story. Like we got to meet before I knew that much about you, and like I didn't see your bio, and you sent me your bio, and I was just like, holy shit! Like this is why I wanted you to come on this podcast because your your gifts and your truth and the spider bites, like there's just a lot there. So I'd love for you to just share, how you kind of got into this work and what that hero's journey was for you.
I can already feel the emotions coming up. I've been transforming a lot lately, so so there's still lots of emotions running through me and lots of processing. But where I started, I was unschooling my kids, and I felt really good about that. And we have 4 children, and I still felt like I was lost and purposeless. Like I knew there was something more. So I literally felt like I was like a red balloon just floating in the wind. So I wrote in my journal that I need help. And the next day I got an email saying, would you like to go on a spiritual retreat? And my body was like, yes. It was like a full body yes. So
Yay.
that was a new experience for me. And so that spiritual journey or that retreat led me to a year-long program of me opening up my gifts. So right before, I don't know exactly when the spider bites happened, but it was right before the schooling started. I got spider bites on my ankle. I'm like, that's weird. Because I had like a dozen or more, and my husband had nothing. So it's
Wow.
like, well, that's weird. But it wasn't like, like something. It was just like, that's weird. I just didn't understand, but I knew there was something. So
Yeah.
then after my schooling that I had integrated because it was a lot of schooling. And about 6 months after my school stopped, I actually got the spider bites on my ankle again. So I knew something was going to happen. And I found myself on a summit, and I found my mentor through there, and she's helped me do a lot. She's helped me open up my gifts. We're still learning. I'm still learning with her. I'm still actually in a healer's course with her as well. Healed up a lot of ancestral trauma with her. She's helped me put on a summit, would help me change. So when I put on my first summit, it helped me kind of understand who I was, like being in that shaman presence, like who everyone kind of feels it differently. So there's not like, what is shamanism? There's not like one true answer. Everyone has their own different perspective on it, which I really like that because I'm more of like untraditional. I'm not like from Peru or anything like, but I still feel the gifts come through me. And now that I've been talking with more speakers, they've been activating my gifts as well. So now I have like a dragon energy coming in. I got goddess energy. So I'm like weaving the three together right now, like shamanic goddess and yeah, dragon energy. So it's pretty fun.
Love that. Yeah. And even since you and I have talked, which was what, just a few weeks ago, crazy dragon stuff has happened. I'm not wearing them, but I have dragon earrings.
Mm.
I've been dreaming about dragons. And then I read The Fourth Wing, which is like the hot new cool book that everyone's reading. And it's like super fantastic if you're into dragons. But I love that. And back to the spider thing. So one of my friends that's like really into the stuff that we're into had this really interesting card deck, and I'd never seen it before. She's like, we're just gonna like play and like pull some cards. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is the best girls' night ever. And she pulled the spider card, and my heart sunk and her face lit up. She's like, oh my God, you got the spider card. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, you're orchestrating your web, like you're building a network, and like you're gonna catch the best people and like help support them. And I'm like, whoa. So love that. So what would you say to someone who's afraid of spiders? Like what's the
Well, there's
spiritual?
definitely like some healing work to do there. If there's a fear, what's behind the fear, right? It's it's showing what you need. It's showing you what you need to work on.
Mm,
Oh, I'm afraid of that. Oh, why does it make me scared? Why?
yeah.
Like go into the deep. Like why? You don't have to keep holding that fear. You can go into it and release it. and feel the joy and happiness. You don't have to stay in that fear.
Love that. And then I know you and I have talked a lot about summits because that was like our life for a substantial amount of time. So for someone who's new and they're like, maybe I've done a summit, but like, I don't understand what that has to do with your business. Do you want to kind of give like what you've learned and why it's important?
The summit created a lot of healing for me. Like a lot, my very first one, I had a mentor who helped me along the way. And actually, what we did was 5 steps at a time. So every week, she's like, we're going to do this 5 steps. And the next week, 5 steps. I'm like, what about this? She's like, we're not there yet. So she kept me present. So I didn't worry and I didn't trail off and I didn't like go into anxiety. It's like, no, we're doing this. And she's done like 50 summits. So she knows what she's doing, like she's got experience. So it's just taking those steps, like one step at a time. Because I had to, like, for myself, I had to be visible, which was not part of my realm before that. I had to heal a lot on visibility and I had to learn, like, there was so much healing that happened. So I can't even remember the question now. Like, even though I answered it.
Like also like the tactical purpose of a summit also.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. There's more to it. It helps to build your email list. Is the overall theme is what I've been taught, and all my mentors that I've had is that email list is most important because if you're ever on social media and you get kicked off, where are your people? Like the email is your people. They follow you. If you have something new coming through, like you're channeling through something, those are the people like they want to be with you. Those are your like instant clients, right? So I literally had on my first summit, I had one person on my email list before I started, which was my friend.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then with the summit, we had above average sign up. We had I think it was almost 950 sign up.
That's incredible. Yay. So if you are an entrepreneur, I'm glad that you heard this because I talk about it all the time, but I'm starting to ask other people who have done it because I want the transmission to come through and for people to start to understand. Like even today, like I felt really inspired to post something really cool on Instagram. And I just like no attachment, like not expecting anything, just like, yeah, I love putting this content out there, but like it has nothing to do with me selling anything because again, like we know that it can be taken away. And I think that's something just to keep in mind when you're getting a million DMs a day from all these people trying to sell you stuff for social media. And like, I mean, there is a place for it 100% to do ads once in a while, but like that's bringing you to getting their email and like taking care of your email. And, there's just something so precious about that relationship. I mean, right before we got on, my mentor emailed something and I literally dropped everything to read the email from her. So I think that's important for people to realize is like, who are you getting emails from? Are the people you want to unsubscribe from? And then like, who really lights you up? Because I've been really into like the decluttering thing right now. And I'm like, decluttering email is like the best, most immediate time saver.
Yeah.
And like there's so many beautiful people out there putting out beautiful content. So I'm super honored and grateful and excited to be in the summit. And you guys can register for that below. It starts on the 17th, which I'm super, super excited about. But
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to realize that these are like transmissions that are coming through and you busted your butt to put this together and it's very beautiful. Like the aesthetics are like so on point. And speaking of that, I want to go back to the White Raven thing. So I'm sure people are wondering what the story is there. So if you want to share kind of like how that dropped in for you and what it means to you and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Before the White Raven, I called myself the White Light Holder because I knew I held light and I held space for healing. And I've even had like some speakers say, like, oh, you really hold the space when I do an interview. I'm like, okay, you know. But it came through a healing. It says the White Raven, and it just stuck. Like it just like that is me. Isn't so for the Raven, Raven means magic, going into the void, going into the darkness, like the stuff it's hard. And the white to me is clearing that. You're clearing that darkness. So it like having wings, you can go up, we can like do the galactic, but we can also go down. Like with the wings, we can fly wherever we need to for whatever client I'm with. We're all over. Like I know like my clients, all my sessions are completely different. They're like, we didn't do that last time. I'm like, I know. So the one time, my one session, we just like went up and we went to the galactic and I barely said anything, which is not usual. Sometimes I like channel messages will come through and we just let it be and then we just embodied it after. So it like I had to step out of the way, let let our teams work and do what it needs. And we came back in after. It was awesome.
I love that. I mean, I'm like already feeling it so much in my forehead. Um, I just like when I'm with you, like I just feel like I could laugh forever. And I love that. And I definitely do hope that you register for the summit.
Mhm.
Some of my favorite people in the whole world are also other guest speakers. But I mean, I think I like hysterically laughed for like 4 minutes throughout the interview. We just had so much fun. And that's what this journey of life and entrepreneurship is about, right? Is like having fun. So I would love to learn more about the things that you like to do for fun, and especially for other moms out there. They're like, oh my gosh, she runs a business and has 4 kids. Like, how does that work?
It just works, I guess. We unschool, so we don't fall.
It just does. It's
We
so
make it work.
simple.
We do unschooling, so we don't follow a traditional like program. We've tried it, does not work for our family. And I have children from 6 to 14. And we just kind of blend like what my biggest thing is connection. And if I don't feel that connection with my kids, it's hard. Like that's why I want my kids to be home. And I know some people are opposite, they're like, send them to school. But like for me, like I want to have a good relationship. I want to have that connection so they can share. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Like maybe they're playing video games and we're just kind of feeling disconnected. So I like to have that family time. So what I like to do recently is just going out for walks. Like I love being on our land. We have a quarter section. We have cows, and I really like our cows too. They're so grounding. So I've been walking out and see them. I just like to do, I don't know, I'm more of a country girl. I love being in nature. I'm a tourist as well. So like being grounded and like being in nature is my thing. Like we've tried living it down, does not work. Like I just love our lifestyle that we have. It's so flexible. We don't really have a schedule, which sometimes that works, and sometimes it's kind of chaotic too, right? Because we're not structured people at all. It just kind of flows how it is. We don't go to the bus, like it's just so
Yeah.
many things.
That's, I mean, definitely a lot of flow, and it definitely feels like a lot of connection and a lot of play, which, I mean, as we know, are the highest vibration. And I think a lot of people, they wait until they are burnt out or they feel like their whole life is falling apart before they start making those changes. Do you feel like it was like part of your soul contract, or do you feel like there was something else where you just like really decided like you learned these lessons very early in motherhood? And I think that's in entrepreneurship, and it's just very admirable. And I'm just curious, like when that popped in and like how that happened.
Well, I knew like right even after high school, I wanted to have kids, and I like my husband's a few years older than me because I needed that maturity level. Like he wanted a family, we wanted a family, so that just kind of co-created. So everyone else is like going to college and having careers. I'm like, no, like I wanted a family. I knew that like that was a pull, like it was always in my mind.
Oh,
And it's just kind of it's been there. Like my kids, they're so special. Like with me doing all this healing work, I can see the difference within my kids. It's visible. Like I had to go through being confident and being seen. My daughter used to only wear black sweaters and she didn't want to be seen. Yep. And with me being like more visible coming out, she wore a bikini this last summer, and then like she's wearing red sweaters, like and not wearing a sweater. So like it's impacting all of my children in their own way. Like my one son, he's more shy, and he'll actually like go up to an adult and talk to him before he couldn't do that. So I know like this healing, it pulls me. Like it is like I want to learn, I want to learn, I want like it's a growth that I've always been looking for. And actually I have like opportunities to do that. So I've been taking it, and I know that it's changing my family in so many ways. It's insane. So like one of my healings that I actually had like a cloud of judgment over top of me. So I was
wow.
working with my healer. Yeah, it was ancestral. So she was taking it off, and I could actually feel it in my right eye. So I was like, or sorry, I'll back up here. So my right eye, it felt hollow. I'm like, what's this? Like, it feels weird. It's hollow. It's like it's not there. It's like your perspective is changing. So,
Ooh.
like that was pretty cool. So then I was like opening up my eye, like looking, like I was trying to like stretch it open because my right eye is actually let's see if I can get closer. It's actually not as open as my left. It's better now, actually. It's healing. So when I was done with the healing session, I went out and told my daughter 'cause her right eye is also a little bit more closed as well.
Wow.
And she's like, yeah, when you were in your session, I was like opening up my eye, like stretching it, like it was so awesome. And then I talked to my dad. He's like, "Yeah, I woke up and my right eye was hurting this morning."
Oh
So
my
he like
God.
one healing was 3 generations worth. It was awesome.
That is so cool. And like
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. Like we are the leaders. Like women are the leaders in their family, they're the leaders in the new earth. And like it's because we have this profound effect on the people around us and creating generational healing and systemic change. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the healing, like once you see and feel it, like you just get into, I know I do. It's like it keeps pulling me in and pulling me in. And then, like healing isn't always easy either. It's sometimes I've cried a lot, that's how I process is I cry and process it that way, but it's so beautiful in the outcome. Like our lives has changed so much. Like my husband has a great job, he has a great boss, and we choose like healing works half the year, which provides enough for us. And I love being on the farm. I love our whole house is like made out of this wood because we made it. And I don't even know how like it happened, but we just like manifested it in its own way and its own uniqueness. It's like it's our whole house is just grounding. It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. And if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, it would be fun just to go and like actually look at, because I mean I'm from Maine. Like I get the obsession with wood and like appreciating the trees and like picking beautiful trees and like loving them and allowing them to home us and protect
Mhm.
us versus just some of the materials that people use. Um, I think that's the first thing I said the first time I met you. Like I love your wood, Janine. I love your wood.
Oh, thank you.
Love it so much. So I'm sure people want to know more about I'll put links below of like how to reach you and do sessions and things like that. But what typically, or at least right now, do you have like a trend of like what people are kind of coming in with, especially being the beginning of the year?
It varies. I do like release deep rooted trauma, but everyone's different. Like the one I packages of 5 have been selling a lot for me, which is nice because it's a nice transitioning period. You can really see like the last one, it was like awakening her dragon energy. That's what she wanted. It's like, yeah. So like a lot of dragon energy has been coming. So like the dragon energy has been activating people's gifts. So if you want some of that medicine, like if you want to kind of more soul purpose, like that's coming out. And I've been learning like in my healers course, I'm learning so much more. I'll be learning like 13 different modalities. So I'm going to be like expanding and yeah, it just, there's not a one answer, I guess, which is like
Oh,
hard to,
I love that.
yeah, it's, people are totally different. I've worked with people who've had some really hard childhood traumas, like sexual. Those ones are really deep and profound too. Like I really enjoy like releasing that for people because I feel like for women too to release like any kind of like abuse too, it's like it's beautiful to like see the difference. And like the one lady I worked with, we only did a few, I think it was only 3 sessions, and from where we started, like she changed jobs. She booked a trip to, I think Mexico with her girls, and she used to be a single mom. So like that was huge, to like from her being in that survival mode to that thriving mode is like,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess like moving like as I'm saying, like moving from survival to thriving, which is what I'm like processing and going through. So that's what like I'll help my clients with as well.
I love that. Well, it's the perfect time, 2024, the year of abundance.
Yes. The 8, which is like the number 8, which is like the shape of the spider as well, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I love that so much. Anytime something 8 pops in, I'm just like, love it. Because I was obsessing about the number 8 for, I guess, the last 2 years when I found out it was the number of abundance. And so I just decided that I was going to obsess about it. But now it's like, it was almost like it was getting me ready for this year or something. Cause like now it's like, I'm like super into it. Like I'm, I'm embodying and understanding like what it means versus just like thinking about it. And yeah,
Mm,
it's that going from survival to thrival mode, I think, like you said, which is
yeah. Yeah.
fun. It's really
Yes.
doesn't have to
Yeah.
be incredibly
Yeah.
hard.
So I had going through my healer's course, we had like a 5 hour like intensive healing on like 2 different days. And when I first we were like wanting to like set the intention of what do you want to manifest? And my original manifest was to like build an empire of my healing business and have that financial stability and personal growth. And then we did a lot of like theta and gamma, and I actually brought my heart's truest desire forward. And my heart's truest desire is to live the life of luxury. And that like broke the other one away. It's like, no, like I want things to come. So like making money as a healer is
Mhm.
not something that I strive for. Yes, it's a perk and it's a side fact, which is great, but I want to do it because it creates growth within me and I love being in it. Like I love healing, I love growing. So I don't want money to be like, oh, I need to make this much money so then I can do this. It's like, no, it's like I just want to be myself. I just want to have fun. I just want to play.
I love that. Yeah. I'm like super Taurus. And I think it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, like, one of my mentors was talking about like, if you didn't need money, right? Like the actual money in whatever currency you choose, but you had the house, you had the car, you always had food, like the things that you needed were always provided for. You just didn't technically have money. And I was like, that's really, really cool. And like a really good way to look at like what it means to be living in abundance and to have luxury, because it doesn't have to actually be about having a certain amount of money and like hoarding it or spending it.
Yeah. It's looking at like the end result of what you want instead of like, oh, I can't do this. I don't have the money. It's
Exactly.
like, no, like vision yourself being where you want to be, right? Like I have a pull to go to Hawaii, which we talked about earlier. And instead of like, oh, we don't have the money or whatever, it's like, no, like we're going, we're actually going to take all of our kids. Like the funding will happen, just let it flow as it needs to. Like let it happen, instead of and it's like so me envisioning like going and feeling the energies and sitting on the beach and being with like my family and just enjoying it instead of like, well, we need this amount of money, like so instead of focusing on the problem, we're focusing where we want to be. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think just removing how from our vocabulary really changes a lot of things.
And even like a few months ago, I really wanted to make money through my business. And so like with my healer, we did healing. She's like, you actually don't want that. Like you want your husband to make the more money and I want to be underneath, which was very accurate. So then we did the healing on money. And because I was like, I was receiving with closed hands. I was looking for one way. I was looking for my healing business to make the money and like be one way. So I had to like receive with open hands. And after I did that, receiving with open hands, my husband calls me like an hour later. He's like, yeah, I just got a raise. I was like, what? Like you haven't gotten a raise in like 5 years because he gets paid like pretty good anyways. Like what? And then my healer and I were talking about it. It's like, yeah, you should save 10%. He's like, yeah, I got a 10% raise. I was
Oh my
like,
God.
well, I
I
like I let yeah, so I let the limitations go of how money can come to us. And it was
yeah.
like, bam, opportunity. And then like 2 months later, I did another like money healing and he got another raise again. He's like, his boss is like, yeah, you actually aren't charging enough. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that so much. And like that's also like such a good example of like divine masculine, divine feminine. So I know that's like a super hot topic right now. And like sometimes like we manifest money or manifest resources in the way that it's for our highest and best. And sometimes that is through our partner.
Just not limiting yourselves. Like, oh, I just need it this one way. It's like, no, like be open. It can come like bazillion ways to you. Just allow it to receive. Yeah.
So amazing. Love it. So tell us a little bit more about the summit, maybe like a sneak peek at some of I know you talked about the dragons, like anything else that we need to know so we can get in, register with the link below.
This summit is completely different than the first one. The first one, like the theme, because it was more of a connection, and this one is more like empowerment, community. It's totally different. Like the one the one speaker that I had, she channeled and I didn't even barely have to ask her, and I was so much into it. I'm like, I don't even know what to ask, and she just kept channeling, and she answered my questions even though I didn't verbally say them. So my body was like lit off. Like it was like, so then I actually like chose to do some of her, like her free gift too, because there was so much connection with her. And I know everyone's different, so really feel into who you connect with, and you want to watch them all. Like I had a lady last season, she's like, yeah, I just been binge watched them all. I'm like, that's awesome to binge watch a summit, instead of like TV.
I didn't realize
Like,
people didn't do that. That's how I got into all this stuff. I literally did one of Helen O'Reilly summits, and I listened to every single speaker, like, and then ended up listening to them over and over. Like, that's the way to do it.
yeah, there's so much medicine. And even so we only have one guy this time. And when he also did a similar thing as well, but he was just, his nickname was like Deep, which it was true. Like he was I barely even had to ask him questions too, which was, I just let it flow. And I felt like I was like a level 3 and he was like a level 100. So he took me deep. And then the next speaker that I had, we actually talk about miscarriages and how like, well, it's pretty interesting, like how we have similar daughter stories where our daughters came in earlier and then it didn't work. We had miscarriages. They went back up, and then they came back down. And I had my daughter, but she got hers through an adoption. But it was the same, like, so we were similar but different. But I needed that depth from his name is Russell. I needed to go deep with him in order for me to go deeper into grieving my miscarriage, which I thought I had already grieved like a few times ago, but there was still more depth to it. So there's like a profound healing in that. So it is all over the place. There's so many different speakers. Like I love like the Biz Alchemist. I love that name. Like you have your own uniqueness. Like you have more confidence and like upbeat. Everyone's different. So it's hard to describe. Everyone has their own uniqueness too. So it's see who you vibe with, and if that's a mentor for you, like awesome. If you feel that pull, do it, but if you just want to listen to their medicine, like, yeah, listen to yourself.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to listen to everything.
You know,
So,
I'm excited. I love
and
it.
I'm going to put information below of how to register for Janine's amazing summit, but then also how to get in touch with her if you wanted to do a session or a little package, do some shamanic journeying, probably journaling also.
And some journaling, yeah.
But I'm just so grateful for you being here with us and sharing your amazing essence and your amazing wisdom, and just so grateful for all the beauty and healing that you're bringing to the world and especially your family.
Thank you.
I will talk to everyone next time, and I'm sending you a big, big hug. Bye for now.